Volvo's new B5 and B6 powertrains are supposed to provide a little bit of extra efficiency around town due to their mild hybrid system. But how is that going to affect our fuel economy cruising on the highway? Let's go find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2023 Volvo V60. In today's test, we're going to head out and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a realistic fuel economy number for this beautiful luxury wagon. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. I am a big fan of the V60. Unfortunately, here in 2022, you can only get the cross-country version of the V60 unless you want to step up all the way to the expensive and high-performance Polestar engineered models, but this one still looks quite good in this onyx black color, and as I said, it's rocking the new B5 mild hybrid powertrain, which means a ton of smoothness for around town driving, stop start, and a little bit of extra fuel economy. If you do want to see more on the Volvo V60, check the links in the description. We've got sound system tests, which I'm going to record in here, a little DM test drive, and a breakdown of the new infotainment system with Android Automotive. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this V60 30 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who take their vehicles on long road trips and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect at higher speeds in the real world. In order to test that, we're going to head over to the gas station, fill up, go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Interestingly enough, this Volvo doesn't show you what side the fuel cap is on. Most cars these days provide a little arrow. This one does not have one. It's a little disappointing. A few things to note for today. Outside temperature is 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Our tire pressures have been set to their door placard 38 psi cold. And we're going to run the climate control at 72 degrees auto. Typically we do 73, but these Volvos only go in increments of 2 degrees Fahrenheit, so we're going to go with 72. You can see the engine is off right now, and as soon as I release my foot off the brake, the engine comes right back to life. But because this is a 48-volt mild hybrid system, there's a generator built in that has plenty of power to start up the engine with virtually no sensation. I guess I'm just going to have to take a guess as to the side of the fuel cap. I'm going to go with the driver's side. Was I correct? The survey says no, other side. And the car is shut off. Come on. I'm happy to report that you no longer have to double tap on Volvo shifters to get them into drive. You don't have to go into neutral first. All right, let's hop out and fill it up. 2.166 gallons going in for our first fill. Before we start the engine, we're going to reset the GPS and our car's trip computer, and we're ready to begin. No different drive modes in the Volvo V60 Cross Country, and I appreciate that. Technically, there is one drive mode in the screen that's for off-road, but there's no eco, there's no sport, and I think that's good for a car like this. It just simplifies things, and I think most people buying a V60 are just going to get in and drive it every day. They don't want to have to fiddle with modes. I think that's a smart move. So we're just going to drive this nice and easy over the highway here. The goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy, but rather a realistic number. So as we get up to highway speed here, we're going to get the speed at a reasonable pace and then set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour, which should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. No shortage of torque, even... Oh, did that person just litter? Dude, come on. Why do you have to be such a pile of garbage? If you litter, don't watch Daily Motor. Anyway, looks like the car's speedometer is reading about 1 mile per hour low, which is not great. So keep that in mind if you're owning a Volvo. But we're going to get it set up to 72 once we get by some of these semi-trucks. Unfortunately, I am shooting this on... Oh, she's texting too. Great. On your phone, littering. Who cares about anything, right? No principles. Anyway, we're going to continue on. I'm going to try to forget about those people who don't care about our world that we live in. And I'm going going to drive with Volvo's excellent pilot assist semi-autonomous driving mode and hope that some of these semi-trucks free up around here. Looks like we're already in for a day of chaos, which is just great. And we're going to catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Volvo V60 B5, cross-country technically, we are smashing EPA according to the vehicle's trip readout, 34 miles per gallon, 4 miles per gallon above the EPA readout, have been averaging 70 miles per hour, and once we got out of the first 5-10 minutes here, weren't really drafting, so I would consider this a pretty darn clean test. I'm happy with those results, all things in. And happy being in this car long term. It's comfortable, it's got good supportive seats, pretty quiet in here, and the S tier Bowers & Wilkins sound system, best on the market. If you want to jam and you want the best, pony up for the Bowers & Wilkins in a Volvo 60 or 90 series car. Not too much more to say other than that, but we are going to get it back to the gas station, fill back up, see what our pump calculation is, see how that vibes with the car's trip readout, and get you a final result. 2.878 gallons going in for our final fill. 101 miles divided by, look at that, 600 miles of fuel range left. 101 miles divided by 2.828 is giving us 35.7 miles per gallon according to the pump's readout. That's a little bit high compared to both the EPA and the car's trip computer, but I also did notice that the trip computer is reading low compared to the GPS, so I think 34 to 35 is going to be a pretty achievable number, cruising at 70 miles per hour here in the Volvo V60 cross country with the new B5 powertrain. That is quite good. I'm going to give 35. Is that too high? Today's a very ideal situation, so I'm going to drop down to 34 for our number here in the car. I think that's a very realistic, achievable number, so that's what we're going to go with, 34. We have a 15.9 gallon fuel tank in here, so 15.9 times 34 miles per gallon is giving you an effective highway cruising range of 540 miles here in the V60. Now, I do need to point out that this car requires premium fuel, so even though it does have a pretty decent fuel economy number for the practicality of this car and all-wheel drive and everything, you do have to remember that you're putting premium in, so you could get a regular fuel car that doesn't get quite as good a fuel economy, but it's going to end up costing you the same when you actually fill up each tank. So something to keep in mind. I'm not a huge fan of that. I wish the more basic powertrain for the Volvos could at least take 87 octane, but nope, you got to do at least 91. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the V60, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.